I'm Dr. Tracy Fanara. This is EarthX 2026, and I have some amazing people with me. I'm so excited for this conversation about Ocean Exploration Trust. So I want to introduce you to my friends. And so can you guys introduce yourself? Tell me what you're most passionate about and what you love about Ocean Exploration Trust.
Hi, really happy to be here. I'm Allison Fundis. I'm the president and COO of Ocean Exploration Trust. And I am just so excited about ocean exploration in general, kind of filling in all of the knowledge gaps that we don't know about our ocean. The fact that we've seen less than 0.001% of the seafloor, it just begs for us to do more ocean exploration. What I'm most passionate about is being able to bring that to the general public, excite the next generation about everything that we do, and discovering new species, finding new corners of the planet, and really just sharing it with the world.
Thanks, that's amazing.
Great. Yeah. So hi, I'm Mike Ulica. I'm Ocean Exploration Trust Chief Financial and Administrative Officer. I am relatively new to the organization, only 6 months now, but I've known Ocean Exploration Trust since the early 2000s, and I sat on their board for a while. And after completing an 18-year career at National Geographic, which we did a lot of work with Ocean Exploration Trust and Bob Ballard, the founder, I sought this opportunity, and we kind of sought each other. So I'm excited to be part of a mission-driven organization, just like National Geographic was. And that's what really excites me most, is when you take mission and you put it together with media, and you tell the story of what's happening, and the ocean is so not understood, but when you create a passion for it, and people will protect what they're passionate about. And so that's what really excites me about the work we're doing, and the boss here to my left.
Yeah, and that's so true, right? We really protect what we love. And there is so much that we don't know about the ocean, and we're going to need more and more scientists studying this, because our world is changing so fast. And without that knowledge, without really understanding what impacts that we have with what changes are happening, and the life support ecologically for us, we don't even understand how we are connected to the entire environment. Like, I love that you're getting kids. You're really inspiring the next generation. Can you tell me more about that and how you're doing it?
Absolutely. So we own and operate a research vessel called Exploration Vessel Nautilus. So we go out, we're mostly in the Pacific Ocean right now, and we conduct real exciting exploration. So we're looking at biology, geology, maritime archaeology. And so as we're doing that, we're also streaming it all live. So we're able to bring it into classrooms, into science centers, into living rooms, nursing homes, you name it. As long as you're connected to the internet, you can participate live with us, be part of those discoveries in real time. And on top of that, we also have a robust education program. We have really 3 pillars of our mission, and that's to conduct ocean exploration for just great science. We really want to innovate technology and make ocean exploration more efficient and more effective. And then equal to both of those pillars of our mission is our education and outreach program. So we really utilize our ship as a training platform. We run internship programs. So we've got undergraduate students and graduate students embedded within our research team and really learning from the professionals in the field and on board the ship. We also bring educators to sea with us so they can take that experience back to the classroom. So storytelling is a big part of our mission. So we bring storytellers out so they can really help us distill the complex stories behind all of the engineering and exciting technology we have, as well as the science that we do, and then they can share that with students and the public around the world. Because no matter where you are on the ocean, or no matter where you are on the planet, the ocean impacts your life.
Yeah.
It's part of the oxygen you breathe. That's going to drive the climate that influences the crops that are growing that you're going to eat. And so we really just want people to understand that everybody's daily life impacts the ocean and vice versa.
What an opportunity. So I've wanted to go on Nautilus for forever. Every single year I'm like, can I apply? I would love to go on one of your days. Yes. And the thing is, if I never had those experiences. And even through college, I was modeling behind a computer screen, and I was so disconnected, and I'm still so passionate. I can't even imagine what my perspective would be if I had that exposure at a young age. I had my campers tune in.
Great.
So I run some kids camps in Florida, and you guys allowed my campers to see an ROV and everything on the bottom of the ocean floor, and it really they loved it. They asked great questions, and they were building rovers themselves. So they really saw what you guys were doing and mimicked what they saw in their own designs, which was super cool.
That's exactly what we want to see.
I know. I
I
know.
have a similar story, and I was at National Geographic at the time, but we had a program called Explore in the Classroom. And so we were broadcasting live off the ship of the Nautilus, and she was actually the one giving the talk. And I was in Flint, Michigan, with a group of school kids, teenage level. None of them ever seen the ocean.
Right.
Never seen it. And the broadcast started. They were a little bit slumped in their chair, like they wanted to go play basketball or wanted to go do art or color. And they're watching, and then suddenly they stood up, leaned in, and they're hearing more and more. And then it got to question time. Almost all of them lined up for a question. And it's just amazing to see how their interest was just so piqued from an experience they would never have gotten otherwise. So
I
it's
love
fascinating.
It. Yeah. You guys do such important, impactful work. And we talked about the education component, which just has a domino effect, right? Now let's talk about the exploration component, because there's so much of our ocean that's not explored, and there's so much data that we need. What kind of data do you guys really focus on? Biology, physics, chemistry, all of it?
All of it, all of it. So on our ship, and we work a lot with partners, so we really believe in the power of partnership. So on our ship, we have, on the hull of the ship, we have a sonar system that allows us to map the seafloor in high resolution. So we can we have less than 25% of the global seafloor is not mapped at high resolution. It's all based on satellite altimetry. And so we really, to understand the seafloor and the dynamics and the processes that happen and on geological scales, we really need those high resolution maps. And then once we have those maps, then we're able to go take a closer look and really kind of ground truth. What are those features? What might live on those features? How is the geology driving the biology and the ecosystems that we know so little about? And so after we have the maps, we'll send our deep diving ROVs, or remotely operated vehicles, to the seafloor. And so we can dive up to 6,000 meters deep with those. And so we're discovering new species, and when we're looking at the biology, we're taking water samples, collecting eDNA or environmental DNA. And the kind of concept behind that is it's an unobtrusive way to kind of sample who lives there. Because if you're a fish swimming through the water column, you're shedding particles. We collect those particles that are in the water sample, and then scientists smarter than me do the analytics and of that, and are able to kind of discern what species passed through that waterway
Cool.
as we're down there. We also look at maritime archaeology. So we've discovered, we were just doing exploration in the Solomon Islands and Iron Bottom Sound, and looking at World War II wrecks, and kind of mapping and finding for the first time some of those wrecks that we haven't seen. And so we're able to honor history and honor lives lost and some of those really important moments, whether it be ancient archaeology all the way to more modern day shipwrecks. So we do it all. We also are really interested in water column, because the water column is the planet's biggest ecosystem, and so what happens between the surface and the very depths of the ocean.
Right.
And so it's
And the mixing of those.
exactly. Yeah.
You guys have the coolest job. You have the coolest job. I mean, like I was sitting with an astronaut yesterday, and astronauts are really cool, and everyone's like, yeah, astronauts. And I went to the launch a couple weeks ago for Artemis, and it was mind-blowing. It brought me to tears, right? But when you think about the risks that it takes to put a human underneath the water with all of that gravity, not only can you not breathe, just like in space, but if you carry just a bucket of water, and you know how heavy that is, imagine the amount of water that's above you as you go down lower and lower and lower. Those are superheroes.
Yeah. And you really have to specialize the technology that we send down too. I mean, just as in space, it takes a really specialized technology. And so everything that we send down to the depths has to be able to withstand those pressures. And, you think about electronics, and so you've got to house everything in titanium just to make sure it can withstand that great pressure. So the work that we do, we're not actually sending people down, although some of us have been to the depths and can appreciate, that human experience. But our robotic vehicles are uncrewed. And so we're able to send them down for days at a time and just run 24/7 on the ship, which is really what we try to do. Because that's, sending a ship to sea is a very expensive endeavor. Really being able to capitalize on every second is exactly what we want to do when we're out there. And so we've got the ship down there for days at a time. We're able to really do some great exploration in that time and engage everybody while we're doing it.
That is super cool. So you guys have both had amazing careers, right? You've seen a lot of things, done a lot of projects that are unique and get the attention of the public. To you, each of you, what has been like the most mind-blowing thing that either you've seen or discovered, heard, experienced? What was that for you?
Wow, there's so many.
I know. You could pick a few if you shorten them real quick.
I have to draw most of my National Geographic
Yeah.
days, but just the explorers there and what they've found and what they discovered and were able to bring back from this archaeology. Lee Berger finding what thinks was a different line of human species in a cave. That's amazing. When I was there,
That's a huge one.
We did send James Cameron all the way down to the bottom of the Marianas Trench, and filmed it. And yeah, we brought him back. but as his producer said, well, if he doesn't come back, that's still an interesting story. But we did that, so that's pretty amazing just to see that and watch that live and have Jim tell about it. That experience. So I think those are a couple that I would just touch on that were just like, wow, these are like once in a lifetime moments to be part of.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
That's super cool. And what about you?
We get asked this question a lot when we're on the ship and doing these
Yeah,
live broadcasts to
sorry.
schools. No, it's okay. We get asked the question a lot, and I can never answer it because every day is exciting out there. And I think that's one of the exciting thing about ocean exploration is just you never know what you're going to come across. I think back to 2015, we were conducting an expedition in the Galapagos.
Yeah.
Over the course of 2 weeks, we discovered 30 new species. And so just some of those mind-boggling just kind of opportunities to be able to contribute that to science and kind of some of our knowledge gaps. It's those that I've got the chills right now, but, so those moments are really exciting for me. It's kind of like the after the expedition, and we're kind of seeing what impact all of the data that we've collected is making. But for me, it's seeing the spark in people on the ship. I remember that one of my first times going to sea over 20 years ago, and just feeling that spark myself, like this is what I want to do with my life. Seeing that in other people, whether it's an intern that is at sea for the first time, or maybe a postdoc that's coming out to sea, kind of doing their own research, just seeing that passion in people and how many different walks of life come together, and what everybody's doing is a little bit different, and it all comes together in this beautiful package of interdisciplinary science that we are able to foster on Nautilus.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
it's so special, so unique. Very few people can go to work every day and be excited about it and genuinely find happiness in their job. And when you find that, you will hold on to that, right? Because that's so unique, and it really brings together your passion, where you're supposed to be, and just overall quality of life.
What I tell people when they go to work for a nonprofit that has a mission they really believe in, the mission's going to change them more than they're going to change the mission. And once they understand that, they're all in. They're 100% in.
I totally believe that. I ran a research program at Marine Laboratory, and I was genuinely happy every single day. Every single day. So I understand what you guys go through, but I wasn't discovering new species. You know what I mean? That's crazy. Okay, so you just joined Ocean Exploration Trust. You've been here for a long time. Where do you guys see this going? Do you see any changes in the future? What are the goals? You know what I mean? What at the end of your career, with Ocean Exploration Trust, what do you hope that the nonprofit achieves?
Yeah, that's a great question. We're really fortunate to work with a visionary and Dr. Robert Ballard. So he is CEO of the Ocean Exploration Trust, still very much involved. And it was really founded on his vision of his legacy. And so that's kind of doing those three pillars of our mission, which is the science, the innovation and technology, and the education. So really just bolstering those and ensuring that the next generation has the opportunities that we've had.
Yeah.
So just really continuing to open those doors and ensuring that we're educating the next generation on kind of the nature of how critical the ocean is to the planet, how many career pathways there are in marine science, and just really kind of sharing that there's so much more out there that we need to learn to really have good fundamental knowledge about how our planet works, what lives on it and in it, and
That's awesome. What
Yeah.
about you?
So my retirement runway is a little bit shorter than, but I was going to mention Dr. Ballard too. Just I've known him for 25 plus years at time at National Geographic, and just what he's doing and what he's established here, and how can we talk about this in our strategic plan? How can Ocean Exploration Trust be in the record books? They're known for, they basically mapped the new America. 52% of what America owns is underwater.
Right.
And being able to map that and tell the world that this is we call it the Lewis and Clark, Bob likes to call it the Lois and Clark
Yeah.
expedition, but that's something, the journey we're on. And so what I'd like to leave it is in a great place where it does continue beyond me, beyond Dr. Ballard, and just continues to do the great work and the support that Allison had talked about, and that mission continues.
Yeah. I think that a lot of people, like what you were just talking about, mapping the ocean floor, a lot of people, on the outside might be like, oh yeah, because there's so many species down there. There's, we need to know what's going on, where fault lines are, where minerals are, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I was the Coastal and Ocean Modeling Portfolio at NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Right. And to me, bathymetry means understanding and the accuracy of our models for our ocean currents, our surge, the mixing that goes on. Having really detailed, high resolution, which means really, really detailed understanding of the elevation of the ocean bottom, bathymetry, is really important for so many things that people don't even realize, even like boat safety. Fish.
And it's non-political, right? It's like everybody wants to know what you own, right? And so if you're whatever you are, you want to know, wow, 52% is underwater? Well, what is it? And
right.
So that's
Right.
where we get the support from both parties.
Yeah. Okay, so I do this with my campers all the time. There were these holes that were found near the Mariana Trench, and they were like rectangle holes, okay, but they were spaced, and it was like tracks. It's like tracks of these holes, okay, and it was a big, NOAA doesn't have like the best branding, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain offices that do a great job in social media, but this was a few years back when, this was a big deal, okay, because the public just swarmed into this post with their hypotheses of what these holes might have been. Do you guys have, and it was likely, I have the kids guess, and they come up with some amazing guesses, right? But has there been something like that, some mystery, some ocean mystery that still maybe is unsolved or was unsolved for a while that you were just like obsessed with figuring it out?
I have a personal one.
You're going to have to ask the scientist this question.
Okay. In 2019, we did mountain expedition with National Geographic
Look at that.
to look for Amelia Earhart's plane.
That's right.
So that was one. We didn't find it.
Yeah.
But So I think that's one of those just kind of elusive mysteries. Just what happened to her and Fred Noonan, her navigator, when they were unfortunately lost. And so that's a massive one for us. It's we went out there. So we were on Nikamaro Island, and around it, kind of there's a bunch of different theories on what happened. And we were chasing one theory that they might have landed around Nikamaro Island, and so we were looking off the coast there.
That's so exciting.
So
And yet still motivating because the question is still out there. I know University of Purdue, I heard, is doing
there's been a few searches.
Yeah.
And there's another group going.
It's, wow, yeah, that's super exciting. And
We
what
wish
about
them
you?
luck.
So it'd be at National Geographic, one of the art expeditions we did, and became a feature in the magazine was Clotilda, which they believe was the last slave ship from Africa that ported in Alabama, and then was pushed off and put on fire and sunk, and that was discovered. And
Wow.
created a park there now, but it was just, it's part of our story, as the United States. And but
That's
that was an
amazing.
incredible find, and connection to the community there was very important, of course.
That's amazing. You guys live such exciting lives. All right, so we are about out of time, but what would you like to leave the people with?
Well,
How do they get involved?
Yeah, follow us first,
Yeah.
nautiluslive.org. You can follow our expeditions when we're out at sea, and a lot of educational material, but a lot of fun things to see. And you don't need to sit there with your phone and go like this, you stream. It comes to you, and you just sit there and watch it. You'll be mesmerized. But I think get involved there, learn more about the ocean, how important it is. It's the cooling engine of our planet. When people talk about temperature rise, it's the ocean that's cooling the planet, and so it's all part of our ecosystem. It's not separate. It's part of that. So I think learning more and learning to appreciate it, and what it really brings to us as human beings.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and for me, it's, my advice is always just keep asking questions. And, as Mike said, nautiluslive.org, people can really participate. It's not you're not just watching a live stream. You can participate. You can ask questions. We will answer those questions. And if you want to be an explorer with us, you can join from your living room.
It's incredible.
And then in the fall of every year, we also put out applications for our internship programs and our science communication fellowship, which is how we bring educators, and that's formal and informal educators out to sea with us. So there's lots of opportunities. So.
I love it. My friend Maynard went out with you
Yes,
guys
yeah,
last
we
year.
love Maynard.
Yeah, I love him too. He's great. So that's awesome. And how do people donate? Can people donate?
We have a donate button
Okay.
on our website. Thanks for asking.
Awesome.
Yes, we are a 501c3, so it's all.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, we
tax
want this to keep on growing.
Yes, we
Absolutely.
do.
And the support is very important. The government can only fund so much,
Right.
but the support from the public is critical to what we do in the future.
It's amazing. Thank you guys so much for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Thank you.
And I'm
Yeah.
coming on your boat.
Please do.
Yeah.